Hey Crosspoint kids, it's Allison here, and I'm about to read you a couple stories for story time. This first one that I'm reading tonight is from Matthew chapter 5. God blesses you when people mock you and persecute you and lie about you and say all sorts of evil things against you because you are my followers. Be happy about it, be very glad. For a great reward awaits you in heaven, and remember, the ancient prophets were persecuted in the same way. You are the salt of the earth, but what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. So Jesus is talking to us here about how we should never hide the fact that we are a Christian. We should always do what Jesus wants us to do. And even if people don't really get it or they don't like it, then we should still show kindness to them because that's what being Christian is all about. Just doing good deeds and then spreading your kindness around to everybody. The next story I'm reading tonight is Jack and the Beanstalk, and you can read along with me. Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there lived a mouse named Jack who lived with his mother in the country. They were good, honest mice, but they were poor. But Jack and his mother hadn't always been so poor. When Jack's father was alive, a fairy godmother repaid his kindness by giving him a magic golden cheese that grew back when it was eaten. But one day, a mean giant cat stole the cheese and killed Jack's father. Jack's mother worked hard to grow enough vegetables to feed herself and her boy. Usually there was some left over to trade for cheese. One year there wasn't enough rain to grow a good crop of vegetables. Jack was good-natured, but he didn't work hard to help his mother find enough food to eat. His mother had to sell almost everything they had. Finally, there was nothing left in the cupboard to eat, and there was nothing left to sell but the cart. When times were better, Jack had pulled their vegetables to town on the cart to trade them for the cheese. But without the vegetables, they no longer had use for it. Jack, take our cart to town one last time, said his mother. You can get a good price for it. Jack took the cart to the storekeeper. He stroked his whiskers and thought. Young mouse, he said, I'm going to reach into my bag and pick out 3 very special magic beans to trade for your cart. Jack was delighted to get 3 magic beans for only 1 cart. He scampered back home to his mother. What did you get for the cart, dear Jack? His mother asked warmly. I got 3 very special magic beans, Jack told her with pride. You foolish boy, cried his mother. There's no such thing as magic beans. Now we have nothing left to sell. Jack's mother threw the beans out the window, then she and Jack went to bed without any supper. The next morning, Jack woke up thinking about how nice some breakfast would be. Then he opened his eyes. Jack saw a tangle of leaves at his window. He got out of bed and took a closer look. Jack saw that a huge beanstalk had sprung up overnight. It had grown taller than anything in his mother's garden and straight up through the clouds. I wonder where the top of the beanstalk ends, Jack thought to himself. He climbed out his bedroom window and he began to climb the tall beanstalk. Jack climbed for hours. When he finally climbed through the clouds, he saw a wonderful castle in the distance. Even though Jack was now tired and hungry, he walked until he reached the castle. Jack scrambled up the castle wall to an open window and peered inside. On the floor was a huge golden cheese that smelled incredibly delicious, but a giant cat guarded that cheese. Hungry Jack had to get to that cheese. Quickly, he scampered back out on the castle wall and dashed to the next window. Perched on the windowsill, Jack scratched and squeaked with all his might. Soon the giant came into the room to see what the noise was all about. Jack dashed along the outside wall to the first window, where the golden cheese stood unguarded. Jack hopped down and nibbled at the cheese. It tasted so good. Just then, Jack heard the giant complaining in the next room. Fee, fi, fo, fouse. I smell a mouse in this old house. Come out, come out. Jack quickly broke off an enormous piece of the cheese. He ran around the corner with it just as the giant came back to guard his golden treasure. I know you're around here somewhere, said the giant cat. The giant looked all around, but he could not find Jack. The smell of the big cheese had covered up the smell of his little Jack, so the giant never knew how close he had been to catching him. I must hurry, Jack thought to himself. He ran across the clouds to the beanstalk as fast as he could. Jack climbed down with the cheese. "Mother," he called, "bring me the axe." "Right away," she called back. When Jack reached the ground, he chopped down the beanstalk, and his mother danced around the piece of golden cheese. Jack's mother told him, "This is the piece of the golden magic cheese that the giant stole from your father. Your magic beans helped us get it back." That evening, Jack and his mother ate their fill, but they left some cheese uneaten. They put it away in the cupboard where it would grow back to its full size overnight. "You are a good boy, Jack," said his mother. They never went hungry again. The end. That's all for tonight, kids. I hope you have a really good night, and I'll see you all on Sunday. Bye!